with something that big?
Interesting titles, innovation stagnation, early aggressive discounting, tumbling stocks, and title fatigue are all reasons that I thought that the next AAA game industry crash was upon us. But I got it wrong. It's actually been going on for the last 6 months. Let's take a look at some of the reasons why. One of the indications that a company is scared financially is when they stop taking risks, when they stick to the same formula over and over again. And certainly, regardless of whatever title you might be interested in, you can tell 2018 and 2019 releases look very similar. If you look at Fallout 76 or the new Far Cry New Dawn title, or even Rage 2, these games all, while yes, the gameplay is different, it's like they all got the same PDF on how to stylize your game. And to me, they all bleed together stylistically, and I'm not inspired necessarily to jump in on any of them for this reason. Right, so here we start with alpha footage of the Far Cry New Dawn. It's post-apocalyptic. It's got high concentration of neon, like this Fortnite color palette. You know, it's yes, they're all unique, but now we move to Rage 2. We have the exact same kind of looking thing. Post-apocalyptic, high concentration of contrast, neon colors, kind of that goofy, Fortnite look. And yeah, again, the game is different in many ways, but it clearly is following the same guide. And we move to Fallout 76, post-apocalyptic. You've got some interactions with bright contrasting colors. While this is the least favorite of the three, you can see how similar they all are. Now, I realize that this is a bit of a broad generalization, but overall, I think my point stands as just one of many. We also see a significant amount of AAA or franchise fatigue. When you expect the player base to get hyped up every single year for a new Assassin's Creed title, or every single year for apparently now Far Cry titles or DLC mini updates, it's just not exciting after a while. I mean, yeah, Battlefield is cool. Yeah, Call of Duty is cool. But after you buy it and buy it and buy it year after year after year after year, and the video games industry has modeled themselves after the automobile industry in the United States, where you provide customers tiny incremental updates, just enough to make them purchase a new game and not a penny more, right? Then eventually, yes, that pays off because you're lowering your cost of development, but eventually the consumer is going to say, you know what? I'm not going to buy Madden this year. Really, all it is like new rosters and a new tackle move. Why am I going to run out and buy the new Madden? Or why am I going to run out and buy the new Battlefront? It's really the same thing. Or, I'm not really going to go buy the new Far Cry expansion because, well, it's the exact same map, just with some new style and a little bit of an extension on the game. Yes, the hardcore fans will continue to buy it, but most casuals are just getting fatigued. And it's not because gamers as an economy have less money. Let me give you an example of where I'm at, okay? I have games that I grabbed next to me. These are games that I've purchased in the last few years and never even opened, right? If I didn't buy a new game in years and never never even opened, right? If I just games that I grabbed next to me, these are games that I've purchased in the last few years and never even opened, right? If I didn't buy a new game for 2 years, I would be fine. Divinity Original Sin 2, still haven't played it. Golf Story, just got that yesterday. Spyro, still haven't opened that. Bayonetta 2, haven't played it. Super Mario Odyssey, haven't played it. Fire Emblem Warriors, I paid extra for the Super Mega Premium Edition, haven't even opened it. Sega Genesis Classics, haven't opened it. All the way back to Mega Premium Edition, haven't even opened, haven't played it. Fire Emblem Warriors, I paid extra for the Super Mega Premium Edition, haven't even opened it. Sega Genesis Classics, haven't opened it. All the way back to PS4. Dark Souls 3, I forgot I even bought this. Brand new, right? I go back to my Wii U. I never even played Bayonetta 2. It's still sealed. Zelda, still sealed. These are games going back several consoles, and I just still haven't played it because, well, life happens for most of us. And sometimes you just don't prioritize playing a game and you forget about it. So eventually I'm looking at, like, when I went through this, I said, well, dang, I'm not going to buy any new games until I play these old ones or I sell them. And that means I'm out of commission for the next 6 months. And to continue the many reasons I think we are already in the great AAA market crash is the early and aggressive discounts. We can see basically Ubisoft even noticing this with their Far Cry 5 expansion and pricing it accordingly. It's not hitting the market at $60 or even $80. It's hitting the market at $40 to $45, although much of the feedback, if I had to use the new Exclusively Games rating system, would be that people are going to pause on this. They're going to wait for it to go on sale. They're not in any hurry. A common thread I see from many gamers, to go back to my last segment, is I've got a huge backlog. You know, I still haven't even finished this game I forgot to show you, Final Fantasy X-2. I haven't finished it yet on my Vita. You know, I only take it with me when I travel. So it's taking more and more and more to get the video game crowd to want to pre-order, want to hype up for something. So what's happening is, you can't tell me, look, if video game companies were doing, as I'm talking AAA, we're doing that great, would they be putting Fallout 76 50% off? Would they have put Battlefront 5, or Battlefield 5, 50% off? No, of course not. If they could get full price, they would do it. You're not going to convince me that, no, everything's doing great, they're just trying to give back to the community. Baloney. If Battlefield 5 was doing great, they wouldn't have put out this last-second promotion to all existing old franchise players to get the game at 50% off. They aren't meeting expectations, and a lot of this is because, not because they're not making money, okay? It's because they're not making enough money for investors. So they're going to accelerate their own deaths or restructures. Look, these companies are so huge that, no, they're not going to close their doors. I mean, EA could probably survive on their sports titles alone, but you are going to see restructures. You are going to see deaths of franchises. You are going to see major layoffs at these companies, and I think you're going to start to see it in 2019 because so much of these companies' futures rely on the investors, okay? And that's the next point I want to make. I'm going to show you why it's here, okay? Let's look at EA's stock over the past 6 months. Peaked at $144. It is now $83. It's lost 50% of its value. And market valuation, look at the market cap, $25.19 billion, okay? They lost huge money, all right? And you might say, Jeremy, it's just EA. Wrong. Here's Activision. 6 month, they peaked at 83. They have now plummeted to 48. Let's just say for easy math, they have also plummeted by 50%. I mean, that is nuts. You're talking about market capital of almost $40 billion. Want more? How about Rockstar? Look what Rockstar did. They had Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar, BioWare, All these companies trade underneath Take-Two Interactive. Look at their 6 month, peaking at $140. Right now, it's at $105. And I bet you if Red Dead Redemption 2 wasn't on this, it would be half. But still, that's a huge swing, right? Want to go further? Let's look at Ubisoft. 6 months, peaking at $24 a share. Right now, $15 a share. Nearly half of what they were. And these trends, look at the direction they're going. I mean, it's not in the middle of a bounce back. This is still in free fall. Look at EA. Now, you mean to tell me that this market reaction is just, the market readjusting? It just has nothing to do with sales. And remember, people in the stock market aren't trading on what's normally happening right now. They're looking down the road. And the fact that there's this huge sell-off across the entire tech industry or the entire video game industry as a subsidiary of that is indicative of people aren't very excited about the future of these AAA companies. And it's been going on all year long. We've been talking about it. We've been talking about the stocks of these companies. So it's not coming. It's here. We're in the middle of it. We haven't yet bottomed out. And I think where we bottom out is probably Q1 of next year, Q2 of next year, when a lot of the end of year earnings come out. Guys like Patrick Soderlund from EA probably wouldn't have been kept around after the disaster this year has been, because investors just want more and more and more and more. It doesn't matter if your company is making billions, they want you to make trillions. And without these market investors, you lose a lot of your leeway capital to take chances. That's why you see them pump out new titles every year. Pump and dump every title. Half-finished games like Battlefield 5. They've got to get your money right fucking now, because their investors are watching. They're watching their sales numbers. And now the consumers are starting to notice, and we're starting to push back, and we're starting to say, dude, I have a whole stack of games I haven't even played. You know what, Battlefield 5? Maybe I'll play you in the summertime. But for now, I just found I had Dark Souls 3, one of the most difficult games of all time. Maybe I should play that. Or if I got Bayonetta 2, I just found my Wii U in my sock drawer upstairs when I was looking through for old titles I had laying around. I mean, I could hook that up and have weeks of fun. Why do you think the retro market is doing so good right now? Okay. Yes, you have kids like my age that are now in their 30s that have expendable income that are buying these like arcade one-up machines and retro machines like that. But there's also a genuine interest in something different. Even if that something different happens to be a game from 25 years ago, I'll tell you what, I never felt more pumped than firing up Castlevania on NES or Ninja Gaiden on NES. These are classic games, so yes, you get that rush of adrenaline, of nostalgia, but also it's like, oh man, side-scrolling at its absolute best. A brutal, difficult game with a killer soundtrack. I'm pumped for this. It's been so long. That's why these things are selling. Yes, we have money, people, in my generation now who grew up with the NES. But that's why so many of us are now collecting original cartridges too. So we see the market is sick of these yearly releases. They're buying them at a lesser and lesser rate every year. People are getting sick of just generally the franchises. We haven't seen much innovation. We can see most of the titles are following the same formulaic method of releasing games. While the internals might be different, it feels like the same paint job applied to many different games. And now, when you add to this the fact that the competition is bigger than it ever was, right? AAA titles now are competing with indies at an all-new level. They're competing with nostalgia. They're competing with retro. Could you imagine being EA and be like, dang, we're losing sales to NES mod consoles, NES retro consoles? But they are. For $60, I get 30 games. Okay, on the SNES Classic, you get Star Fox 2 alone. That's worth it. You also get Earthbound, one of the best RPGs in history. All right? So don't tell me that these companies aren't noticing this. And yes, they're not going to close. All right, EA is not going to close their doors. Ubisoft isn't going to close their doors. Activision isn't going to close their doors. But there will be restructures in 2019. I'm almost certain of it. And why this is a good thing for gamers is easy. We're sick of a lot of these titles. We still want to play first-person shooters, but we want something new. We want something innovative. And the only way these big companies are going to innovate is when they fail, when we stop buying their same incremental updates every single year, or when a third party comes out and really blows the lid off the market. This is going to open the market up to indies to come out and really make their mark on the world. And there are a lot of games I saw advertised at the Video Game Awards that look great, and they were indies. So 2019, I think, is going to be a great opportunity for indie development companies and retro, and I think that's going to be great for gamers. We can all just step away from getting on the treadmill of buying the same game over and over and over again, and we're going to start to move out and explore indies. We're going to explore retro. We're going to remember that the PS1 has a huge library of amazing games. You're going to see a lot of people getting into Raspberry Pis, playing games that way. I think 2019 is going to be one of the best ever for gamers and one of the worst ever for AAA game companies. And you know what? I'm not going to shed a tear for it. But I am interested to hear what you have to think in the comment section down below. I want to have a conversation about this. I'm looking forward to reading them. And I, for one...
Latte Panda Alpha, a hackable computer with Intel 7th Gen Core M3 CPU, 8GB dual...
Can't wait for the crash of the AAA giants. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Just a second here. Let me, I guess I can read that post. It's like one of the most popular posts, like, ever on the WoW Reddit. And I do think people wanted to get my, like, feedback on it, and I can take a look and see that, right? The BFA experience, like, what is this here? Wow. Wow. Holy shit. 31,000 up, boys. Holy shit, that's a lot. That is a lot of up, boys. Okay, just a second. Let me put this music on, and I will read this out to you guys. Okay. Get McConnell to read. I think McConnell's like AFK or something to do. I don't know where he is. Okay. Just a second. Let me put on a good song for this, man. I'll try to read it with a little bit of dramatization. You know. I don't know. This isn't a really good song, but we'll put it on anyway. Who gives a fuck? Okay. Dear Blizzard Entertainment, gameplay first. Those are your words, your founding words, and you have abandoned them. I am a grumpy 41-year-old male. I'm cynical and skeptical. I work in marketing and I hate that business. It's full of bollocks and bullshit. At the core of that is the ridiculous idea that customers want to engage with companies and have conversations and relationships and other such nonsense. I don't care. A thing for the companies whose products I buy. I don't want a relationship with Coke. I don't want to visit fan forums for Tide. And I will never pay any amount of money to watch or attend a Levi's convention. I just want good products at reasonable prices. True. Very fucking true. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, all these companies that are like, they think that making clever fucking remarks on social media is gonna get them to get people to like buy their stuff. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm not a fan of corporations the way that I'm a fan of the Denver Broncos. I don't yell at the TV whenever I see a stupid McDonald's commercial like I do whenever Case Newman throws another interception. I'm not emotionally invested in Nike or Google. I don't want whoever runs those companies to be fired when things go poorly, the same way I think Vance Joseph should be fired from the Broncos. We've got an Agenda Andy here, okay? I have a pretty good feeling this guy is not happy with the current state of the Denver Broncos. Not happy at all. And why is that? Because I'm emotionally attached to the Broncos. I love that team. I cried whenever they won Super Bowl 50. It's irrational, I know. The win-loss record of a sports team has no effect on my personal life, and yet I cheer and jeer. Thankfully, I don't invest myself into commodity corporations the same way. Except that I do. For more than 20 years, Blizzard, you have made games that I love to play. Even the games I was terrible at, I still played. I know that feeling. I'm terrible at all of them. I knew that they'd be the best that the genre had to offer. I wasn't any good at the StarCraft games, but I played them anyway. I could only just scrape through the story campaigns in the Warcraft series, but I played it anyway. I love Diablo, but I never played in hardcore mode or pushed high-tier rifts. Why did I play those games? Because they were fun. I also made some good friends along the way. Friends that I still play Blizzard games with. But I didn't truly love Blizzard until 2004, when I stepped foot into Dunmorrow. I'll never forget trapezing through the snow and climbing the hill to see Ironforge for the first time. I love World of Warcraft and you, Blizzard, ever since. A canvas poster of the original World of Warcraft box hangs on my wall. A little figure of Arthas guards my desk. In my closet, Blizzard-branded t-shirts hang next to my Broncos gear. I'm not just a guy who buys Blizzard's products like I buy other stuff. I'm a Blizzard fan. I pay to watch BlizzCon. I root for the company to succeed like I do with the Broncos. But now, when I see that poster or wear one of my Blizzard shirts, I feel a bit like I do whenever I watch a Broncos game. I'm cheering for a team that used to be great, but just isn't anymore. I keep watching, though, because that's what loyal fans do. And I keep hoping for better days. In the Blizzard retrospective documentary published in 2011, Mark Davidson said, "It wasn't hard to let Blizzard do its thing as long as it was working. Blizzard, the things you are doing now are not working." Maybe you know this. Maybe it's causing internal power struggles at the office. And maybe you are too deep in to see that you are no longer the company that presided itself on gameplay first. The only reason Blizzard gamers exist at all is because of great gameplay. But great gameplay is hard. It takes years of testing and iteration to get it right. It's expensive. You were always known for taking your sweet development time. Soon, we were told. It'll be done soon. And we knew that you were creating something beautiful and amazing that was, despite any flaws that may exist, going to be fun. Soon was almost always worth the wait. But you don't make those kinds of games anymore. And I wonder if you ever will again. Do you know why I logged into World of Warcraft day after day for those first few years? It wasn't because of the 15-minute corpse runs that were fun. It wasn't so I could wait for the warlock to farm soul shards or the hunter to travel all the way back to the village to buy arrows before we could finally spend the next 5 hours being lost in Dire Maul. It wasn't to craft copper bars or gather rune clots so I could buy a cross-racial mount. Though I did all of those things, and many, many more. It wasn't logging on to earn or buy loot boxes. I didn't finish a dungeon and hope that whatever the final boss dropped would not only be the thing I wanted, but also a Titan Forge into a super-powered version of the thing that I wanted. I didn't log on so I could fill a bar, although there are plenty of bars to fill. I didn't play so I could gather some random source of power that would inevitably fade into irrelevance as soon as some goblin miner discovered a new random source of power. I didn't show up to race through dungeons or replace pieces of gear every other day with gear that was marginally better or worse than what I was wearing. In fact, I think I wore the same robe for 2 years during Classic WoW. I only replaced it after Burning Crusade released. My mom did the same thing. It was called the Feather Moon headdress. I remember it. And she does too. I didn't log on so I could tab out to third-party websites because they were the only way I could find out that I had the right talents, right gear, and simulate numbers with the right gear that I did have. I didn't pay $15 a month to earn a score from a third-party website so I could participate in the game with other people who valued my random score over my experience playing the game. I think this is a little bit of a weak point because the random score is derived from your experience playing the game, but okay. I played World of Warcraft because just being an Azeroth with a few friends was good enough. I wasn't worried about leveling up quickly so I could play the real game like people are today. If I set out to do some quests but got distracted by PvP or a dungeon, corpse runs and corpse runs, or exploring a zone that was full of monsters just a bit too powerful for my level, more corpse runs.
Peggy 12.
That was all right. Because exploring Azeroth, an enormous world full of amazing creatures and hidden things, was a lot of fun. You're deluding yourself if you think that classic World of Warcraft will bring that all back. It won't. It can't. That experience can't be replicated any more than returning to Disneyland as an adult can recreate the first time I visited whenever I was 10 years old. Those days and those games are gone. The game that we play today is not a game at all. Instead, World of Warcraft is a data-gathering index of daily user actions and patterns. It's a research tool to help scummy marketing people decide